Hello, my name is Emphrey, and this is a Godot game development tutorial. Now in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make a game out of just hand-drawn levels. Heck, you might not want to use all the pixel art computer drawing programs. You might want to just hand draw your levels with just regular pencil and paper. This is a very easy way to create your levels because all you do is just sit somewhere without a computer and just draw your levels by hand. Heck, you could probably do this in the back of the classroom or something. Heck, even a kid in preschool or somebody who's just 3 years old could make a level this way. They can just draw a little picture or snap a photo and they can create a level. Or you might be an artist, that has some pictures that you drew or painted, and you might suddenly want those paintings or drawings in your game. Sometimes it's good to get away from the computer sometimes to relieve yourself from all the radiation. And remember, these techniques could also be used as a photograph. You might just want something that's in your house somewhere to be in your game, so you just take a photograph and upload it, and you can use these same methods to make a level from the photograph. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do all that stuff. Here I'm just drawing my scene with a pencil. Okay, so now I create this simple drawing. So I'm just going to email it to myself, and then I'm going to download it, and we're going to work on putting this into a game. So stay tuned. Okay, so now I've transferred my drawing, and now we're just going to bring that drawing here into paint.net just to fix it up a little bit. Or maybe we won't fix it up. Maybe we might just leave it the way it is. I think either way will be fine, but let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to click open, and mine is on my desktop, so I'm just bring this in. Okay, so here's our picture. Just going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm just going to hit the selection tool and then get the most important part. Copy it, and then I'm open a new file. Okay. And then all I'm going to do here is just make sure this move tool here is selected. And then I'm just going to maybe, let's move this out the way. And then just pull this over. Stretch it out a little bit. I mean, this is not going to be perfect. This is just an example. You can take what I'm telling you right now and expand on it and make it better. So this is good enough for our purposes. I've already set up my Godot folder and scene and everything, so I'm just going to go ahead and save this file, save as, and I'm going to go ahead and save this inside of the Godot folder that I made before this tutorial, because I've already set up my project. Okay, so I'm just going to call this a drawing. Okay, so that's finished. Some of this stuff might be not done perfectly. It's just to say, even if you're not a perfect drawer, you can make your levels this way. Okay, so now we're going to go to the project. Okay, so now we're just going to bring that drawing into our Godot scene. So it's going to be scene 2D. Let's just rename this to scene. Okay, and click on that. And then I'm going to look up sprite. And then we're just going to bring in our sprite like this. Okay, so there's our level. I'm just going to go ahead and save this. Save this file, save as scene.tscn. And then we can make this the file that we're going to use when we launch our game. So we're just going to go project settings, run, main scene. Okay, so once we launch our game, this is the scene that we'll get. Now the thing we're going to do is add some collision shapes to the top of these buildings here. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to go to plus, click 2D scene. I'm going to change this to static body. Static body 2D. I'll just call it collision shape. And then we're going to add an actual collision shape to this. Collision shape 2D. And we're going to make our collision shape rectangle. Rectangle 2D. So if we zoom in, this would be our collision shape. So we got our collision shape, and we're going to just go ahead and save this. Save as collision shape.tsn. That's good. So now we just close this out and then go back to scene, and then we're just going to bring in that collision shape. Okay, so we got our first collision shape. You can't see it because what Godot does is put it dead center in the middle on a 0 axis in the left and right direction. The Y has to do with going up and down, and the X has to do with going right and left. So we'll just zoom in a little bit, and there you can see it. And we're just going to resize this. Now you can see it better. So now we're just going to position this. Let's see. Let's kind of position this here. So this will be our first platform. This is a real neat way of making a game, especially if you're an artist. Okay, so this can be our first platform. And if you really want to do it, we can just make it about the same size as the platform. Oh, that's about enough. So, oops. Yeah, about enough. Then let's make it a little wider. Okay, so that'll be our first building. Now, we just duplicate it. So, this will be our second building. See, again, this is what our player will be stepping on. Now, you'll see that later. We'll duplicate this again. And on this one, we got kind of a castle here. We just size it according to these little castle bricks here. Okay. So, this is brick 1. Like I said, I'm not going to do this perfectly, but I'm just showing you the idea, and then you can take this and expand on it. Okay, so that's the first castle brick. And let's duplicate it. And we're going to move one castle brick down here. Size that. Let's see. I think you all get the idea from here, so I'm just going to stop this video and pick up from when this is completed. Okay, so now I'm finished, and this is what it looks like now. Okay, so, and then, like I said, you can always, go back and rename these to which collision shapes they are. You can name this first building collision shape. But for the sake of keeping this tutorial as brief as possible, I'm not going to really do all that, but you can. So now we got our scene set up. We just got to make a character now. So we're just going to open up a plus and just make the character right quick and call this Henry. And we just go ahead and save this. And then we're going to make a idle for when he's not doing anything. Next thing we're going to do is put a camera on our player. Turn it to on. Okay, so that's our camera. The next thing we need to do is change this to a kinematic body. Then we're going to add a collision shape. We're going to make that collision shape a rectangle. Okay, so, and so then we fix that. I think that's good enough. Okay, so that's our player. And then we just add a script to our player. I'm going to load it because I already made the script, but if you're making a new script, you just all you do is click this and then just click OK and then do what we're doing. Okay, so alright, so that's our script. Okay, so now we'll take a brief look at our script. Okay, so I'm not gonna go into too much detail on this stuff. This floor, we needed a parameter for the motion here, so that's what this second part is, and that's why we got this floor vector here. We got a gravity to make our player go down automatically. Speed, our character's gonna go 20 pixels per second. That's what I like to call it. Jump height, when our player jumps, is going to go up, going 50 pixels per second. Remember, in Godot or usually in game programming, minus means going up. But if this wasn't here, our player would go down. This determines which direction our player will be facing when our player moves. This direction right and direction left. Here's when we start the game, our player will be facing the right direction. I'm sorry, we don't need these two. We're just setting up our motion vector here. Okay, so this determines which way our player will be facing once we start a game. And this stuff down here makes it so that when we hit the left button, our player will be facing the left direction. Or if we hit the right button, our player will be facing the right direction. Okay, gravity, this makes it so our player goes down. It stays on the floor until we hit the jump button. We got to fix the jump button later, but let's go through this code first and we'll fix our jump button later. So this is when if you press the right button or left button, our walking animation will play. Remember? We set this walking animation here. Well, that's what this is. Not only that, if we hit the right arrow key, our player will go to the right and be facing to the right direction. And if we hit the left arrow key, our player will go to the left and will face the left direction. And if nothing is pressed, if neither the left or right button is pressed, then our item animation will play. Remember? Our idle animation. And then here, we're going to make this the A button. Whenever we press the A button, our player will jump. So let's take care of that now. We got to establish this. So let's go to project settings, input map, and we're just going to make a variable for jumping. And we'll make that the A button. I just pressed the A button. Okay, so that's a brief idea on our character. Okay, so now we got all this settled. We just hit Control S to save this. Then we'll go back to our scene. So now we just add the player to our scene. Select Henry. And then you can barely see our player, but it's right here. And we just move our player right here. Okay, I think that should work. So let's go ahead and launch our game and see what happens. Oh, okay, so our character is on top of the grocery store. Oh, and it's jumping. See, so our game worked out successfully. And jumped onto the second building. Whoa! Oh man! I think our collision shape here is too high, so it's a little neat game though. So what we gotta do is we gotta go back to our code if we want to fix that. We'll go back and we'll just make this a lot higher. 9. Okay. I'm glad it's working though. And what we also need to do is fill in the rest of this background. And I might show you how to do that briefly. But let's test this first. Okay. So, oh yeah, yes, that's good. That's perfect. Wow. Okay, so this is our game. This is how you make your level. This is a cool game. Whoa. Wait a minute. Okay. So, good. Okay, so let's check it. What happened if he... Okay, so it goes down and the ridge is pretty good too. Okay, so that's our game. Now, the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to fix this background a little bit. We'll go back to our paint program. And we're just going to take a little section of this. Copy it. This is not going to be perfect either, but I'm just giving you some ideas. We just paste this. So okay, save as. And all we're going to do is just stretch this last part out. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So this is just background. Let it import. We're just going to just add that in there. It just goes right. And we'll move this up here. And we just call this background. Then we just add the texture we just made, and you can't see it because it's behind this paper, but you can still manipulate it from here. So just make it a lot bigger, like real big. You probably be able to see it now. See, now you can really see it now. And so now that background pretty much covers the back so that we won't see the wrong spots. The way I did it wasn't the proper way, because now, I guess, if you look at the transform size, our background is very, very big. We can just change it to 40. And for our purposes, this will be good, but you can go ahead and play these numbers. So now let's see how this works. Okay, so it looks a little bit better. I mean, you can put whatever background you want, but this does look a little better now. Okay, so let's try it again one more time. Let's play it one more time. This is a really good way to make levels. Okay, so and made it up. Okay, so and it's our game. I think y'all get the idea. You can actually do the same thing with the photograph. You can go take a photo of anything you want, upload it, add collision shapes to it, and you can make a game out of that. This is my kitchen sink. Very, very cool. So you can take what you learned in this tutorial and expand on it. You don't have to have just pencil drawing. You can do this with crayons. You can color pictures and assets and add whatever you want to your drawings. The sky is the limit. And with the character, I made it so that the character could only jump, but you could make your character do whatever you want to. So this is just an idea. So I hope this helps. Till next time. Thanks. Bye.